The warning from the sky turned dark over the cities of Earth. At first, people thought it was a storm. But then something huge moved behind the clouds. Too big, too silent, too smooth. It wasn't natural. It wasn't from Earth. Phones buzzed. News reports flashed. People stopped walking. Cars pulled over. Everyone looked up. A shadow stretched across the land. A ship, not one made by humans. It floated like it owned the sky, blocking out the sun, covering half the sky like a blanket made of metal. Panic spread fast. Children cried. Adults froze. Governments locked down. Military bases went silent. Everyone waited. Then it happened. Every screen, TV, phone, computer, turned black. A single red symbol appeared. A circle with 3 jagged lines. And then a voice. Not human. Cold. Deep. Calm, but terrifying. This is Commander Krovnek of the Zorvani Dominion. Your world now belongs to us. You have 7 days. Surrender or be erased. People screamed. Some ran to churches, some ran to basements, and some just stood in shock. The voice continued. You are weak. You have no defense. You are not worth conquering. But we need your land. Surrender, and we will let some of you live. Then silence. For a full minute, the world held its breath. Then something strange happened in a small military base in Arizona. A general opened a bag of chips. He popped one in his mouth and looked at the screen. So, he said, they finally showed up. The soldiers around him didn't laugh. Not yet. But then one of them pulled out his phone and showed a meme. An alien with a speech bubble. Surrender or snack time? The room broke into soft chuckles. Across the world, people started to react. Not with fear, but confusion, and then humor. On social media, jokes exploded. Aliens want Earth? Let them take the Monday traffic too. Surrender? Sorry, we're booked this week. Memes, jokes, and videos flooded the internet. People were still scared, yes. But humans had a strange power. Even in fear, they laughed. In a hidden government bunker, leaders met. What do we do? Someone asked. An old scientist replied. They think we're weak. Let's not prove them wrong. Not yet. The president nodded. We give the people calm. Let them laugh. Let the aliens think we're not taking it seriously. But we are? Asked a young officer. Oh yes, said the president. We are. Activate Project Emberfall. Somewhere under the Arctic ice, a machine that hadn't moved in 50 years. Woke up. Its core hummed. Lights blinked. Old codes came to life. In a school in Tokyo, a child looked up at the sky and asked her teacher, will we die? The teacher smiled gently. Not today. In New York, people gathered on rooftops to see the alien ship. Some played music. Some danced. One man grilled burgers and waved at the sky. Humans were strange. They cried and laughed at the same time. They feared and fought at once. And that's what made them dangerous. The alien commander Krovnek watched from above. He was confused. Why are they not afraid? His second in command, Vrez, replied, they are afraid. But they pretend not to be. It is unsettling. They do not prepare for war, Krovnek said. They tell jokes. They watch us as if this is entertainment. Perhaps they are more foolish than we thought. Or smarter, Vrez said. Krovnek's eyes narrowed. Either way, we give them 7 days. Then we erase them. Back on Earth, a young woman named Mira sat with her grandfather on their porch. She asked, do you think we'll win? Her grandfather, a war veteran, looked at the stars. They came to scare us. But we've lived through worse. Humans don't give up, Mira. We get angry. We get smart. And we get loud. She nodded, holding his hand. On the 7th continent, in Antarctica, a quiet signal was sent deep into the Earth's crust. It was old code, forgotten by most. But those who knew it smiled. It meant hope. It meant Earth wasn't helpless. The countdown had begun, and Earth was ready to play asterisk. They thought we'd kneel. The alien ship hovered like a dark god over Earth. Cities lived in its shadow, but life did not stop. The aliens expected fear. They expected humans to bow. But humans did something else. A pizza shop in Italy stayed open. A barber in Pakistan trimmed beards like nothing had changed. A farmer in Kenya looked up, spat on the ground, and went back to his fields. The world moved forward, not because they were not afraid, but because they refused to act afraid. From orbit, Commander Krovnek watched in silence. Why haven't they sent a message of surrender? he asked. No one on his bridge answered. Are their leaders dead? Broken? They are working, said Vrez, the second in command. Their systems still function. Their people move as if we are not here. They mock us. Krovnek hissed. It appears so. He slammed his hand on the control panel. Then they have forgotten who we are. Ready the fleet. Send the next wave of drones. Down below, the drones spread across continents. Silent. Invisible. Gathering data. But what they found was strange. No major war fleets. No massive space weapons. No plasma artillery. Instead, the drones saw old tanks in desert garages. Ships rusting in harbors. Soldiers playing cards. Planes from decades ago. To the aliens, it looked like a broken world pretending to be strong. They're bluffing, Krovnek growled. They're not ready. They are empty. But something didn't feel right. In the ruins of an old coal mine in Siberia, 10 men stood around a console. They wore no uniforms. Their badges had no names. One pressed a button. Somewhere far beneath the ice, a satellite in deep orbit reactivated. Its eyes opened for the first time in 40 years. In an old radio tower in Argentina, an old woman wearing a gray sweater whispered into a mic. Phase 1 is green. Continue. Back in the sky, Krovnek's fleet prepared to send a new message, one that would break Earth's silly pride. Send down a beacon, he ordered. Let them see our weapons. Let them understand what waits for them. A massive cylinder dropped from the mothership, crashing into a desert in Nevada. It glowed red. It pulsed. And it hummed with energy. The world watched it fall. But no one screamed. Instead, in a coffee shop in Canada, a man turned to his friend and said, "Well, there goes my hiking spot." In Africa, a group of kids surrounded a screen and played a game where they used alien ships as soccer balls. The aliens were not used to this. They had crushed hundreds of civilizations. When the Zervani came, people begged. They offered gold, fuel, even their own children. But humans? Humans offered popcorn and sarcasm. They still laugh, Vrez said, shaking his head. They joke. They eat. They are not afraid of us. Krovnek leaned forward. Then perhaps they should be. But even as he spoke, far beneath the Rocky Mountains, something massive began to stir. Not a weapon, but an idea. A plan made. By old minds. Tested in secret places, trained for a day just like this. One human general said, "Let the aliens think we are fools. Let them believe we are unarmed. The more they think they've already won, the harder they'll fall." Another smiled and added, "And while they wait for us to kneel, we sharpen our knives." Because Earth didn't need giant ships. It needed time. And now, with each passing hour, Earth was waking up. Quietly, smartly, dangerously. The aliens didn't know it yet. But they had just walked into a trap built by the most unpredictable species in the galaxy. Humanity's strange response, the aliens had seen resistance before, angry armies, desperate defenses, wild suicide missions. But never this, silence, laughter, and snacks. From orbit, Krovnek ordered the release of thousands of advanced drones to scan Earth systems. He expected to find hidden bases, secret weapons, and panic. Instead, the drones showed something else entirely. In Paris, lovers kissed under the looming shadow of the mothership. In Tokyo, businessmen rushed to meetings like always. In Rio, children flew kites in the dying light of day. Krovnek stared at the data. They behave as if nothing is happening. Vrez replied, "Perhaps they are incapable of understanding the threat." But Krovnek wasn't convinced. No, they understand. They're choosing to ignore it. Down below, the humans were far from blind. Their scientists had analyzed the alien ship's energy readings within hours. Military advisors across Earth had already drafted countermeasures. Cybersecurity experts had created firewalls to block alien signals. But none of this was shared with the public. Instead, humans responded in the most human way possible, by turning terror into a joke. One viral video showed a man wearing a tinfoil hat dancing under the alien sky, holding a sign that said, "Welcome to Earth, please don't probe." A restaurant in Texas renamed its hot wings Alien Burners. And the hashtag Come At Me Aliens trended worldwide. The aliens couldn't understand TO confused them further. A direct message was sent to Krovnek's ship through a hacked frequency. It read, "Sorry, your invasion is scheduled too close to dinner time. Kindly hold. Would you like fries with that surrender?" Krovnek roared in rage and crushed his command console. They insult us. But behind the scenes, the joke was a shield. Humanity had long learned that fear kills faster than bullets. So they chose to smile, to mock, to laugh, even when they were scared. It was how they survived. It was how they fought in a quiet lab hidden under the Pacific Ocean. 3 young engineers finished uploading an AI virus. It wasn't built to destroy, but to confuse, distract, and mislead alien systems. We'll make them see false armies, one girl said. We'll make them hear fake signals, another added. And while they chase shadows, the third whispered, we'll prepare the real surprise. At the same time, secret satellites started blinking online. Stealth ships, long buried under oceans and mountains, began to stir. But there were no announcements, no parades, no speeches, because Earth was playing a different game. Let the aliens believe the world was weak. Let them think humans were simple, foolish creatures, because only when the enemy lowers his guard can you strike hardest. Up above, Krovnek tried to understand what he was missing. Their cities are disorganized. Their technology is old. Their military is outdated. Yet they do not yield. They even send messages mocking our power, Vrez said. One of their leaders posted a picture of our ship with clown horns. Krovnek's face twisted in confusion. Meanwhile, in a desert somewhere in Central Asia, a lone man walked into a forgotten hangar. Inside, a strange-looking vehicle waited. Black, sharp, and unlike anything the public had ever seen. The man placed his hand on the scanner. The ship's lights turned green. A voice said, "Welcome back, Commander." The humans were not behind. They had simply kept their real power hidden. And now, while the aliens watched Earth's surface and laughed at old tanks and silly memes, they missed what lay beneath. The humans weren't preparing to defend. They were preparing to dominate. And the clock was ticking. Asterisk the first strike. In the trap, the aliens finally lost patience. Krovnek stood on his command deck, cold eyes locked on Earth's surface. "They think we're a joke," he growled. "Let's show them what fear really feels like." A red beacon blinked on the side of the Zorvani mothership. Orders were sent. Deep within the ship's belly, a massive plasma cannon unfolded, its long barrel glowing with crackling blue light. The target, a human city known as Melbourne. Population, millions. "They will kneel after this," Krovnek said. The cannon fired. The beam screamed through the atmosphere. Unstoppable, pure energy, capable of vaporizing anything it touched. But when it hit, nothing happened. A flash, a flicker, then silence. The city stood untouched. Krovnek's eyes widened. What? Down on Earth, in a control room hidden deep under a frozen mountain, a woman with silver hair whispered, "It works." Around her, engineers cheered softly, watching monitors show a dome-shaped shield flickering over Melbourne, an energy net older than most satellites, powered by forgotten cold fusion tech humans had once banned themselves from using. They had kept it a secret, even from their own people. Krovnek shouted, "Fire again." A second beam launched. It hit a target in Central Africa. Same result, no damage. A second shield, silent and invisible, had activated just moments before impact. The aliens were confused, angry, blind, and that's when Earth struck back. Not with nukes, not with giant missiles, with silence. One by one, Zorvani support ships began losing control. Their systems blinked, stuttered, and froze. Guidance programs failed. Communications dropped. Internal lights flickered. Screens went dark. Krovnek spun around. "Report. Something is inside our systems," a technician gasped. "An infection. It speaks in code. It loops messages we don't understand." "What does it say?" The technician turned pale. "It says, 'Oops.'" Back on Earth, a teenage boy high-fived his sister in a crowded, underground data center. Their custom AI worm had done its job. It didn't destroy, it confused, delayed, distracted. The alien fleet had walked into a digital trap. The aliens expected resistance. What they got was chaos, carefully planned, perfectly timed, and very, very human. Dozens of Zorvani drones suddenly turned around mid-flight and crashed into their own ships. Emergency lights blinked red on every alien vessel. Their targeting systems looped in circles. Artificial gravity failed. Soldiers floated, screaming, their own weapons locking them out. In just 47 minutes, the mighty alien fleet began to unravel, and Earth hadn't even shown its real weapons yet. In a secure human base, General Stone leaned back in his chair and took a slow sip of coffee. They fired the first shot, he said. Now, let's introduce them to human patience. A young officer beside him smirked. Or human madness. Meanwhile, on the alien mothership, Krovnek tried to hold command, regain control, reboot the system. But it was too late. Every screen on his ship lit up with a new message, written in bold Earth script. Dear invaders, next time, bring more than lasers. Love, Earth, Vrez whispered. They were waiting for us. This was never a war to them. It's a game. No, Krovnek hissed. It's a trap. And the worst part? They had walked right into it with their eyes wide open. Asterisk they wanted. Slaves. Not enemies long before Earth. The Zorvani Empire had conquered over 100 worlds. On every planet, it was the same story. Arrive, demand surrender, crush the weak, and turn survivors into obedient slaves. They never lost. Not once. That's why Krovnek was so sure Earth would break. He didn't come looking for war. He came looking for workers. He wanted human hands building alien towers. He wanted human minds wiped clean and rewired for service. He wanted Earth's oceans drained, its mountains mined, and its cities leveled. But what he got was defiance. Even in chains, humans did not act like slaves. Before the invasion, the Zorvani had already captured a few humans during secret scouting missions. They had been studied, poked, locked up, and still they smiled. One man even taught alien guards how to play cards with paper scraps. Another woman faked illness for 5 days, only to escape and leave an entire lab in flames. They didn't cry. They didn't beg. They planned out. A Zorvani scientist had once written in a report. Humans are irregular. Their fear changes into humor. Their pain becomes fury. We cannot program them. We cannot predict them. At the time, Krovnek ignored that report. Now, he wished he hadn't. One of the captured human prisoners, a quiet janitor from Earth named Jonah, had managed to start a rebellion inside the holding cells. With nothing but spoons and bed sheets, the prisoners had overpowered 2 guards and locked themselves inside a control room. They didn't ask to be rescued. They hacked the internal comms and started broadcasting jokes in every alien hallway. Attention, alien staff, we're out of coffee. We're now officially dangerous. While the Zorvani scrambled to shut them down, the prisoners uploaded human music across the ship. Wild drums, guitars, screaming voices, war songs from Earth's past blasted through alien speakers, confusing the entire fleet that IT wasn't just noise. That IT was a declaration. Earth would not kneel. That Krovnek's fury grew. Enough games. Send the suppressor beams. Cripple their satellites. Isolate their cities. But when the beams were activated, they failed. That Earth satellites were already disconnected from the global net. Entire regions had gone dark on purpose. Humans had pulled their own plugs to avoid the alien trap. They weren't running away. They were drawing the enemy closer. Back on Earth, in a quiet mountain cave in Switzerland, an old woman lit a candle. Around her were maps, old books, and relics from forgotten wars. She whispered to her team, "They don't want war. They want obedience. So let's give them the opposite." Hidden networks flared to life. Old resistance groups, secret tech clans, abandoned military cells, all activated at once. Civilians joined the mission, not with guns, but with courage. Mechanics turned tractors into rolling EMP bombs. Teenagers used gaming consoles to jam alien comms. Grandmothers passed old resistance codes to young hackers. The aliens had expected slaves. They got warriors, but not the kind they knew. These warriors smiled in the face of doom. They roasted marshmallows while cities went dark. They cracked jokes as missiles flew overhead. And in every laugh, there was a challenge. Come closer. See what happens. In orbit, Krovnek looked at Earth's silent surface and said, "They are not like the others. They are not afraid to die." Vrez nodded. Worse, they are not afraid to live while fighting. The alien empire had conquered weak minds, broken, easy wills, but now they had made a mistake. They had tried to make slaves out of a species that had never truly known how to submit. And Earth wasn't done fighting. Not even close. Asterisk. Humanity's secret weapon, the Zorvani fleet, was in chaos. Ships floated half-blind in Earth's orbit, jammed by strange signals they couldn't trace. Systems flickered, internal alarms screamed, and enemy drones spun in circles like drunken flies. The mighty alien force that once crushed galaxies now looked like it had walked into a storm made of shadows. And somewhere deep in that storm was a single human ship that IT was small, ugly even, no glowing engines, no sleek metal. It looked like junk floating in space, but Krovnek sneered. What is that pathetic thing? Vrez checked the readings. It's a man craft, alone, broadcasting something. The sound came through their ship's speakers, crackling, distorted, loud. Old Earth rock music, and behind it, a human voice. Hi there. This is Captain Briggs. Just wanted to say, you should have stayed home. The alien crew looked confused. Then the small ship pulsed, just once. A strange energy wave burst from its hull and spread through space like ripples in a pond. The moment it touched the Zorvani systems, the fleet's ships began spinning. Lights turned red. Autopilots crashed. Sensors scrambled. What was that? Krovnek shouted. Signal-based virus. Non-physical. It's rewriting our codes. It's not even a weapon. Vrez said in shock. It's an idea. Because that's what humans have been building all along. Not brute force, but disruption. Confusion. Paranoia. The kind of warfare no alien mind was trained to fight. While the aliens built bigger ships and stronger lasers, humans had studied something far more dangerous. How to make their enemy doubt their own mind. Point one by one. Cloaked human crafts uncloaked across the battlefield. Small, fast, sharp-edged ships swirled around the enemy like wolves. Each had no more firepower than a fighter jet, but they didn't need it. Each one carried codes, not bullets. Not missiles, ideas, messages, fear. They hijacked alien screens and played clips of alien losses on other planets. They broadcast stories of human uprisings inside enemy bases. They made the Zorvani believe the humans were everywhere. And worst of all, some of it wasn't even fake. On board the main Zorvani command ship, reports flooded in. Ship 47 has turned its guns inward. For pilots are refusing orders. Entire squads have locked themselves in rooms, claiming ghosts are attacking them. It wasn't ghosts that IT was humans, not outside, but inside, disguised, hiding, fighting. They had infiltrated weeks ago, posing as weak prisoners, as dumb workers, as background noise. Now, they rose up, with stolen weapons, with stolen armor, with human rage, and with them came Earth's real weapon, unpredictability. Aliens planned by patterns. They calculated, predicted, programmed. Humans did none of that. Sometimes they cried when they should fight. Sometimes they joked in the middle of death. Sometimes they ran straight into danger just to save someone they didn't even know. There was no code for that, and now the galaxy's most advanced fleet was falling apart. Not because of Earth's strength, but because of Earth's madness. The Krovnek watched in horror as another ship exploded. Not from attack, from sabotage inside. He shouted, "Shut down all systems. Pull back. Regroup." But it was too late, because the humans weren't chasing the aliens. They were already inside the storm, and they were the storm. Asterisk the last message. We're not done yet. Smoke drifted through space. The once invincible Zorvani fleet, known across galaxies for destroying entire civilizations in days, now hung broken above Earth, crippled, confused, and afraid. Of all the thousands of ships they brought, more than half were gone. The rest floated silently, systems offline. Crews trapped in darkness and fear. Commander Krovnek stood motionless. His armor was cracked. His pride shattered. He stared at the main screen, where a single image repeated itself over and over. A human soldier holding a bag of snacks, grinning beneath the words, "Next time, bring sauce." The worst part? It wasn't even meant to be cruel. The IT was casual, like humans hadn't even tried their hardest. And maybe they hadn't. A call came through. Static, but clear enough. Earth command to Zorvani leadership. We suggest you leave, while you still can. Krovnek didn't answer. He simply lowered his head. Then, moments later, the retreat began. Point one by one. The remaining Zorvani ships turned away from Earth. No farewell, no final threat. Just silence. The galaxy's strongest empire had come, demanding surrender, and now fled in disgrace. But Earth didn't celebrate. Not with fireworks. Not with cheers. Instead, they watched the sky go quiet again. In a small town in Brazil, a boy looked up and whispered, "Did we win?" An old man sitting nearby said, "No, son. We warned them." Across the world, messages were sent to hidden bases: stand down, but stay ready. Because humans knew something the aliens had just learned. This wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. In deep space, other species had watched the invasion. Silent observers. Merchants. Slavers. Predators. They had waited to see how Earth would fall, so they could divide the pieces. Now they knew. Earth would not be divided. It would rise. And as Krovnek's broken fleet limped back to its empire, whispers spread like wildfire across the stars. Earth fought back. Earth had nothing and still won. Earth doesn't surrender. It smiles. And then it bites. Somewhere far from any galaxy, a secret council met. One voice said, "They must be erased." Another replied, "They must be studied." And a third, calmer, wiser, said, "They must be respected." Back on Earth, in a dusty garage on the edge of a ruined city, a mechanic tightened the last bolt on a strange new ship. Painted on its side were the words, "Humanity's not done yet." Because the aliens thought Earth was the battlefield, but for humans, it was just home turf. Now, they were looking at the stars, not as prey, not as victims, but as players, and the galaxy wasn't ready for that. Asterisk.